Hi, this is Clay from OpenC3, and in today's video we're going to be showing how to get Cosmos up and running on your macOS machine. We'll start off with getting Docker Desktop installed, to the Git cloning process, and finally getting Cosmos up and running. So let's go ahead and get started. Everything that we're doing today, including the Docker Desktop installation to the Git cloning process, is all fully documented in our documentation. So come find out the documentation at docs.openc3.com. Under the installation page, there's going to be lots of details on how to install everything. But for now, we're going to go ahead and start with getting Docker Desktop installed. So I'm going to go ahead and click this link that'll take us straight to Docker Desktop. And in my case, I am looking for the Docker Desktop for macOS. Once that is downloaded, I can go ahead and drag and drop this into my applications and have it ready for use. Now that Docker is installed for me, I'm going to go ahead and double click the application, and that's going to start the Docker Desktop and have it ready in our macOS environment. All of our containers are, or I guess all of our software is containerized, so you'll notice that Docker Desktop is going to be the best way for us to launch this locally. And finish setting up my Docker Desktop environment. Great. Once you have Docker Desktop downloaded, you can go ahead and open that application. And then you'll notice in the top right, we have Docker Desktop is running. Once you have your account set up, you can go ahead and sign in and sign up for Docker Desktop Personal, or for this is for work, for Docker Desktop for work. So now that we have Docker Desktop running, we can go ahead and clone the Cosmos project repository. Following our installation documentation here, we're going to go ahead and click the project template to get started. And we are going to open the Cosmos project repository to go ahead and get started here. The OpenC3 COSMOS project is a very great place to start to just go ahead and get started. It's going to be using our release containers that are released by us, as opposed to having the build process build your own containers locally and set those up yourself. So this is a great place to get started. It's going to be much faster just because you're going to be using containers that are already released and available publicly, as opposed to building them yourselves and making sure that you are running those. If you like the full source code and would like to build your own containers, you can go to the OpenC3 COSMOS repository to get all the source code there. But if you're just looking to run this locally with minimal changes to the source code, we can go ahead and get started at the project repository. So I'm going to click right here and open up our the Git cloning options and grab the HTTPS link here. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to be opening my terminal here. If you're unfamiliar with the terminal, for our purposes today, we're just going to be opening this and using this to cloning the repository so that we can access it locally. And that's going to be kind of the limit of that for today. I'm going to navigate to our directory of choosing. I'm just going to navigate to my documents folder. That's just where I keep a lot of my work stuff. But of course, you can choose whatever directory you would like. And in here, I'm going to type in git clone specific URL. Once you run that, if this is your first time running Git, you'll get something maybe along this line, but there should be a pop-up that tells you that Git is ready to be installed. So I'm going to go ahead and click install on that. This is going to take a little bit, so we'll resume when this is completed. Great, looks like that has completed, so we can finish our software installation. Of course, there are more ways to download Git than just this one, so you can always download it using Homebrew, just depending on what you prefer. In this one, this is like a fresh macOS, so getting some of the other developer tools is probably pretty handy. So I'm going to hit done there, and then reopen our terminal. I'm going to go ahead and close the terminal and open a fresh one here, just so that all the changes have been applied. I'm going to re-navigate to my documents folder and then finish that git clone with our Get Cosmos project. So it looks like that has completed and has walked through the cloning process. So great. So from there, I can then navigate to the Cosmos project directory. And if I hit ls, which will show the items in this directory, I will see all the different files that comes with the Cosmos project. So great. So we are almost there now. So at this point, we see this OpenC3.sh file. That's going to be our main starting and running shell script that we can use on macOS to open up and start Cosmos, to turn it down, to stop it. All those operations can be done right there. So I'm going to type in OpenC3.sh start. And that's going to open up and use those release containers. It's going to start pulling all those release containers and then running them on my local Docker desktop. This is a great place to look at our Docker desktop UI, where once these things are starting and running, we'll be able to see all these things running in this dialog. So this is again a first installation. It might take a few seconds, so I'll join back once we're done. Great, so it looks like all those release containers have been pulled in and started locally. If I open up Docker Desktop again, I can expand this and see all the different containers that are now running in my environment and all the different statistics that come with that. So that's great. I can see all the different projects that are started here. It takes about 1 to 2 minutes for the Cosmos project to, once it's actually started, to then actually be running fully on our local host. So we'll just give this another minute or so as the containers spin up and get started. I should also speak a little bit about Docker Desktop performance. So in our resources, you can actually specify all the different resource allocations that you would like Docker to have. In my default, it's actually provisioning a lot of resources, but in our documentation, we have specified the specifics that you would minimum want to have and ideally want to have in your local Docker desktop. Down here, you can see the minimum resources allocated for Docker and the recommended amount of resources for each. So you can all specify all that from our Docker desktop UI. From the settings and resources, you can choose the CPU, memory, and disk usage limits. Looks like this one's provisioning a lot. It definitely doesn't need to be this high though. I think this was just a default. All right, so it's been a few minutes. So I'm going to go navigate to localhost 2900. And great, so we can open up Cosmos. I'm going to set up a password here. So on the first time we use it, we just want to set up our passwords. Boom, done. And then what you'll notice here is that we have a ton of information happening here. So by default, we have a demo plugin installed, which showcases all the different functionality of Cosmos. This is for your benefit, just so it's like, can show you all the use cases for Cosmos. But if it's intentionally very noisy, there's a lot of things happening, a lot of messages coming in, a lot of commands going out. If at any point you would not want to work with this, you can always uninstall this plugin, the demo plugin. But at a high level, so welcome to Cosmos. From here, we have the 4 interfaces that we have by default. We have the example target, the instrument 2, instrument 1, and templated interfaces. You can look at the individual targets that we have, the variety of command packets that we are sending out, all the different telemetry packets that we're receiving, and much more. Once you're done playing with Cosmos, you can, if you're ready for it to be closed completely from your computer, you can run the OpenC3.sh cleanup local force, and that'll just wipe out all those volumes, all the different containers that you had, so that you can go back to having a clean environment without Cosmos running. And then opening up our Docker desktop, you'll notice that nothing is running anymore. So that was a very quick high-level overview of getting Cosmos up and running on a macOS machine. I hope that was helpful for you. And if you have any questions or if you'd like to receive any training for Cosmos configurations, let us know. We're very easy to reach out to on our LinkedIn page or on GitHub, and we're always available here to support you in your mission. So thank you for watching and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.